Hi, English Nomad here, and welcome to today's video, which is a bit of an update on what I've been doing. And I haven't shot anything in terms of a new video for about a week, or uploaded a video in about a week. So I wanted to just give you guys an update, and also I thought I'd take the opportunity to answer one of the comments that I received on my video from the Gibb River Road part 2. Now the question, or the comment, came from Wilson Granville, and Wilson said, "Great update, Mike, on your travels. Nice photos and aerial footage. Sometime would be good with an update on how your camper cruiser are faring during the travel. Any dramas with the build dash mods? Question mark. Working as expected, etc, etc. Look forward to the next video." Short answer, no, I'm not having any problems at all. In fact, part of the reason that I've been a little bit quiet is I had to go to Darwin to get the Land Cruiser serviced. It was due for a fairly major service. This one involved stripping down all of the hubs and re-greasing the wheel bearings and the usual oil change and all the other stuff that they do on the service. So other than that, I've not had to do any kind of mechanical repairs. I've not had anything break or fail on the vehicle. The camper has been faultless. Structurally, it's solid as a rock. No issues at all with anything breaking, anything leaking, even as far as like on the dirt roads with dust getting into the camper. There hasn't been any issues with the integrity of the seals on the door and stuff like the red dirt and the red dust getting inside the camper. Some people really do have issues with that on their caravans because they've got so many different openings for the dust to get inside, but I've not had any issues at all. Now, that's not to say if I was to build it again, I wouldn't change a few things, because now I've lived with it for 2 months almost on the road. I've identified things that they're more of an irritation or an inconvenience, like access to my storage, because the storage is built into the area where I now have my bed. Every time I want to get into the storage, I have to move my bed, I have to pull the cushions up, and if it's something that's buried right at the very front of the camper, at this end of the camper, I really do have to pull everything down to get inside there. So if I was to do it again, I would make some way of accessing those storage compartments with doors on the front rather than the doors that close down on top. But that said, it's a minor inconvenience. The other thing that I would probably change or update excuse me, is my charging system on my batteries, and possibly even the solar panels, because what I'm finding is I'm trying to be off-grid as much as possible and not use mains power in the campsites, mostly because of the cost. It's, you know, most places charge an additional $10 a night for power, and to me that's expensive considering I'm only using it to charge the batteries. I'm not running air conditioning, I'm not running a lot of high capacity electrical items in the vehicle that would warrant paying $10 per night for electricity. So I just need a little bit more efficiency in my charging system to ensure that my batteries stay charged all the time. Sometimes if I park somewhere where there's shade, where I'm not getting full sunlight during the day, I notice that my batteries start creeping below what I feel comfortable with in terms of maintaining the integrity of the batteries long term. Even though they are deep cycle batteries and they're designed to be, you know, discharged at a much greater capacity than normal lead acid batteries, it's still prudent to ensure that you don't do that, you know, to maintain a healthy battery, and occasionally recondition the batteries, which I do. I do sometimes plug into mains power, and the reason I do that is so that I can run the batteries through a full charge cycle where they're fully discharged and then recharged and conditioned through a 7-stage charge, which will maintain the lifespan of the batteries in the long term. So I might look at getting another solar panel, which I can just fold out like a solar blanket. I can lay out on the floor to give me some additional solar input. And I also might look at a different charging system. I'm currently using a 25 amp charger, which is a Red Arc BC-DC charger, but they do a 40 amp BC-DC charger. They also do the Red Arc 40 amp manager, which I like the idea of, because it gives you a readout display that can be remotely mounted in the camper, so I can see what current I'm getting in from the solar panels, what current is going out in terms of what's being drawn out of the batteries, what I'm consuming, and then I can see how well the system is performing at any given time. Having additional solar would help, and to be perfectly honest, I have a generator, but most times, because I only run it for a few hours at any one time, the charger that I have is a 15 amp mains charger. It's really not putting a great deal of power back into the batteries in 2 hours. So again, having that 40 amp charge from say a Red Arc manager system, which has all of your inputs going through that system. So you've got your 240 input, you've got your solar input, and you've got the input from the vehicle when the engine's running. So whichever scenario you're using, you can potentially get a 40 amp charge going into your batteries. At the moment, what I've got is 25 amps from the BC-DC charger and 15 amps from the 240 mains charger. So I think that I could improve my performance in the battery system by having just a much better charger. So other than that, I'm really happy with the camper. It's working really well. Like I say, there's always a few niggles that you look at and you go, oh, if I was to build this tomorrow, I'd change this and I'd change that. But by and large, I'm very happy with it, and I'm not having any problems. I haven't even had a puncture or a tyre failure or all those things that you would expect when you travel on dirt roads. So to answer your question, Wilson Granville, everything's working fine, and touch wood, it will continue to work fine. I do look after the vehicle. I do a daily pre-start, a walk around, check the vehicle, always check my tyres, always check the suspension and the airbags, just to make sure that everything looks okay. You know, even just a visual check. You know, I know the vehicle very well. I've worked a lot on it myself, so I'm familiar with how it's put together, and just a visual inspection, you'll see things that are wrong. One thing that I will touch on, fuel consumption. I'm getting, at the moment, on average, for the entire trip, up to now, just over 16 litres of fuel per 100 kilometres travelled. Which I believe for a V8 4.5 litre diesel engine with this weight is pretty good. I'm satisfied with that. That does go up by around 15% when I've got it in four-wheel drive on dirt roads and I'm travelling slightly slower, which again I think is pretty good. I think on the Gibb River Road I was averaging around 17 and so between 17 and 18 on the Gibb River Road, which I think is pretty good. And I've talked to a lot of people who are towing caravans with vehicles similar to this, like the Land Cruisers with the V8 turbo diesel engine, and because they're towing caravans, they're pushing like 22, 23, 24 litres per 100 kilometres. So as a camping solution, having a camper like this makes more economic sense to me than towing a trailer. You know, that the amount it costs you in your fuel economy by towing a trailer is, to me, doesn't make sense. But that's just my personal preference. I did do a little short video, which I'll put at the end of this, of my visit to Pine Creek. Pine Creek was a very nice little spot. I stayed there on my way up to Darwin. I stayed there for a couple of nights, and it's an historic town founded in the late 1800s when gold was discovered there. It's got a rich history of mining in the area. The government invested a lot of money in exploration for diamonds, but they did find gold, and as a result the area was developed as a township. There is a railway museum there, rich history with the railway, and also they have the Miners' Park, which is basically some historical machinery from the I guess relics from the mining industry in the area. Hi, Mike here, and welcome to this section of the video. I'm here at the Enterprise mine, which was developed here in the early 1900s. Gold was discovered in the town of Pine Creek, where I am right now, in the late 1890s, and it sparked a gold rush in the area. In the early 1900s, gold was discovered at the Enterprise mine site, and this was started to be developed, and then work was ceased for the World War I, and work continued intermittently between World War I, and then the mine was sold. And in the 1960s, the mine was reopened, and then it was worked for the next 20 odd years, finally closing in the early 90s. And what you can see behind, and I'll turn the camera around, is what they did with the mine after mine operations ceased. They diverted the river or creek and created a huge body of water in what used to be the mine, and it's actually really pretty. I did send the drone over, so I'll put some drone footage up, but it shows that even after mining operations have ceased in these towns, they can rehabilitate the area to make it look very nice. So the drone footage definitely does do it more justice than being here, because the trees are blocking the view. It's really, really pretty. So it's a huge body of water. I believe the water is used to supply water to surrounding areas. It's 6,800 megalitres of water in there. It took 14 months for them to fill it up from the creek water. So it's a huge undertaking to create this beautiful spot. It's a magnet for wildlife and bird life. So yeah, it's a great achievement for the local town to have this here. I believe at sunset it's absolutely beautiful down here. You can there is another lake over the other side which I can just see over there, but I'm not sure I can pick it up on the camera. Anyway, so I just thought I'd show you guys that. It's interesting. Pine Creek itself is a very interesting place. It's a very historical Northern Territory town. So I hope you enjoyed that that brief look at Pine Creek. It was a lovely place to stay. I stayed at the Pine Creek Railway Resort. I think that's what it's called, but you can look it up on Wikicamps. It was a nice place, $10 a night. All the amenities that you would expect, hot shower and water and all the other bits and pieces that you would need. I didn't go with a powered site. I believe powered sites are more expensive, but I try to avoid powered sites. And they have a restaurant, a bar, a swimming pool, so it's a nice place. So if you're passing through Pine Creek, just call in, have a look, and definitely check out some of the history there. It's worth a look. I enjoyed it anyway. So so with that, I'll sign off. So please share this video, like this video, and if you're not a subscriber, please consider subscribing to this channel, and click the little bell below so that you get the notifications when I do upload a new video. And I always encourage my subscribers and fans and viewers to leave a comment below, because I will, as I have done in this video, I will always try and respond to my viewers' comments. So until next time, Mike signing off. See you later, guys.